Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name's Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top headlines today. Former Nebraska Congressman Jeff Fortenberry heading back to court Thursday. His charges, the same as before, when a California jury convicted him of lying to the FBI regarding $30,000 in campaign contributions from a foreign billionaire. But an appeals court tossed the conviction, saying he should have been tried where the crimes happened, either in Nebraska or Washington, D.C. Well, the government filed new charges in D.C. Earlier this month, Fortenberry expected to appear for his arraignment via video conference. The federal court recently returned over $25,000 to Fortenberry, which represents the fine he paid as part of his original probationary sentence. I'll add Nebraska's Attorney General to the list of Americans targeting TikTok. Attorney General Mike Hilgers announced Wednesday that he's filed a lawsuit against the social media company in state court. Hilgers alleging violations of Nebraska's consumer protection laws. The lawsuit claims TikTok engaged in deceptive and unfair trade practices by intentionally designing and operating a platform that Hilgers says is addictive and harmful to teens and children.
TikTok holds itself out as a safe platform. It tells people that it is a family-friendly platform. It tells people that it's safe and appropriate for people over the age of 12. It tells people that its restricted mode is effective. It has all sorts of claims that it makes to the public, and none of those claims are true. None of those claims are true. TikTok is not giving Nebraskans, especially Nebraska parents, truthful and accurate and honest information about how its platform works.
The lawsuit follows a state investigation into TikTok's business practices, which Hilgers says TikTok didn't comply with. Hilgers is no stranger to targeting social media in court. Earlier this year, he joined with other state attorneys general in suing Meta for broadly similar conduct. The SNAP program took focus at a House hearing Wednesday. That as House Republicans Thursday are slated to move on their version of the Farm Bill. And some Democrats say the GOP proposals in the bill will amount to SNAP cuts. Karen Kaifa has more.
Members of a House subcommittee Wednesday with different takes on the direction of the Federal Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. Republican Andy Harris of Maryland eyeing pilot programs that would implement dietary restrictions for recipients.
The SNAP program is solely focused on providing calories rather than nutritious food.
Democrats arguing benefits need to support food costs.
Though it tells poor people what to eat, it does little to address the underlying challenges that we face in fighting hunger.
The hearing as House Republicans look to move on their draft of the $1.5 trillion farm bill, which helps fund federal food and agriculture programs. The SNAP program shaping up as a hot topic in the bill's negotiations. The GOP bill would change the formula by which benefits are determined, a move Democrats have blasted as amounting to a $30 billion cut. The left-leaning research group, the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, said GOP provisions open the door to policing of SNAP recipients' purchases. But proponents of pilots for possible standards for SNAP purchases argue they can improve overall health.
Using SNAP to improve diet quality is a small part of what should be a broader policy approach.
Meanwhile, a new analysis by the think tank the Urban Institute found SNAP benefits failed to cover the rising costs of moderately priced meals in at least 98% of U.S. counties during 2023. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
How important are political parties to Nebraska's elections this fall? All 5 of Nebraska's congressional delegation are trying to get reelected despite not gaining support from their own party in the primary, which some think might cost them a seat in the House. And then there's the man trying to get elected to the Senate without belonging to any party. I had a chance to discuss what all this might mean for the general election with NCN's Joe Jordan. As we talk about this sort of discord within the party that existed prior to the May election, what kind of effect could this have on the November election?
Eric, this comes down to one simple thing. It's pretty much be careful what you ask for. You've got the leaders within the Republican Party, sort of the non-elected folks, taking on Senator Fisher, Pete Ricketts, the 3 Congress people. They didn't support them. They didn't endorse them. And now you've got this divergence in the party. And the rubber's going to hit the road, probably not with Ricketts, probably not with Fisher, Smith, blood, probably not. But Don Bacon, that's a different issue. Dan Fry, as we've reported extensively, ran against Bacon, tried to take him out in the primary, 60-40 loss in the end. But those 40 points are significant. There's lots of discussion, sort of an undercurrent, that a lot of those folks will not support Don Bacon in the fall. Now, they're not going to vote for Democrat Tony Vargas, but they're probably just going to stay home and not check that box. If that happens, there's a chance that then Bacon's really at risk. And what I'm hearing is that there are many Republicans who are saying that's okay. We'll lose the seat for 2 years, let Vargas have it. We'll come back in 2026 and get the seat back. But that is a risky strategy. It actually worked 10 years ago. Bacon beat Ashford after Ashford had beaten Republican Lee Terry, in sort of the same fight that was going on. But to have that happen again, that's risky business.
Meanwhile, you have a Senate race where someone has decided to run a shooing party altogether. And Dan Osborne says there's the groundswell of support behind him to unseat Deb Fischer. But is there? What do we know about the kind of support that exists in the state of Nebraska for an independent candidate for U.S. Senate?
He's running as an independent, sort of a populist movement. As you noted, he's walked away. The Democratic Party was ready to endorse him. He said he didn't want it. That's kind of enraged some of the Democrats. But to be honest with you, from a strategic point of view, if you're going to run as an independent in this state and take this high-risk chance of trying to knock off a Deb Fischer, I think running as an independent completely unbeholden to any party is probably the right way to go. It's still a considerable long shot. And it will be interesting to see, will they debate? Will there be a Fischer-Dan Osborne debate? I don't know. If there is, that sort of elevates Dan Osborne, so Fischer may not want to go that route. Then again, she may look, weak to some if she doesn't want to debate. But right now, I don't think we have a really good handle on how significant Osborne's campaign against Fischer is. As we move into the summer months, I think we may get a better idea, especially if we see significant amounts of money, more money coming into Osborne's campaign.
Well, it seems like a long ways away, but general election will be here before we know it, and a lot of interesting races in the state of Nebraska. Joe Jordan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Eric.
On Thursday, the Senate set to vote on a border security bill. The measure failed earlier this year after former President Donald Trump told GOP lawmakers to knock it down. The Democrats have pointed to that as proof that Republicans aren't serious about fixing the problems at the southern border. But there's also division within the Democratic caucus. Some Democrats and immigrant advocates cast this as a political move ahead of the election. They're also taking issue with several key elements of the bill, including the fact that there's no funding for Ukraine. Closer to home, the historic original Fire Station 2 in Grand Island could soon be coming back to life. At a public visioning meeting on Wednesday, city leaders and community members gathered to brainstorm about the best way to repurpose the fire station. The station was built in 1926. The city officials say the building is owned by Grand Island's Utilities Department, but now sits empty.
We own this building that's vacant. It's got this big wide open main floor with these huge doors that fire trucks used to come in and out. Why not look at, does the community want to repurpose this old fire station and make it a community center and give it a community use again?
The Environmental Protection Agency provided a service that allowed consultants from South Dakota State University and Kansas State University to be there Wednesday. They are going to create sketches and drawings of what the place might look like based on the ideas they heard. Some of those ideas discussed: a family action center, a commercial kitchen, an intercultural center, among others. McAloon says this is just the beginning. They're still in the planning phases. Well, the May primary isn't over yet for one race in Adams County. The District 6 race for county commissioner on the Republican ballot separated by just 2 votes, 196 for incumbent Chuck Newman and 194 for challenger Mike Tharp. Since there's no Democrat in the race, the winner will be unopposed in November. County election officials say the recount will happen on June 3rd. A bed and breakfast style inn in southern Gage County nearing a grand opening. Its goal? To promote the town and its history. Jake Bartecki has more.
Work is continuing on a southeast Nebraska inn. The